Hey everybody, it's Emily the Crazy Worm Lady. I'm here today with the VermiBag for an update. So I'm going to take off some of this loose bedding that I have up top here as I'm making a horrific amount of noise, I'm sorry, to see how these guys have gotten along. And the first thing I notice is some mold that has accumulated on these coffee filters. And there are a lot of beetles and a lot of springtails. Interesting that they congregated to the coffee. That's fascinating. But I'm not going to let that bother me too much, because all in all their numbers have been really good lately, so can't let it bug me too much. No pun intended. But the castings in here are just beautiful. The worms look healthy. They're continuing to make really good work of everything in here. We got a good mix still of the blue worms and the European night crawlers. Even when I go deep, I mean, look at the quality of these castings, and the number of babies is quite high as well. So I'm going to bury up what we had before, but look at this piece of ginger that we put in here. You guys told me a few weeks ago that I should take this and plant it. I'm kind of tempted at this point, but I will tell you I know nothing about ginger. I don't even know, is this the root part, or is this the root part? Have to look that up, and maybe next week I'll pull this out and plant it and see what happens. But I guess ginger, I'm sitting here thinking about it, ginger is a root, so I'm imagining that the root coming off of that is going to be the new plant. I don't know. I need you guys to correct me on that, and I will do a little research on my own. But all in all, despite the little influx of our favorite little beetles, not much going on. This was a banana. Just trying to figure out what's wrapped around it here. Feels almost like a piece of plastic somehow got around it. It's unusual. I'll take a look at that another time. I'm not worried about it. But I was not hoping for the beetles, but I'm not really sure I want to skip a feeding either. So I'm thinking I'm probably just going to mix this top few layers up a bit so that the moisture can be evenly distributed, and hopefully that will prevent so many of those beetles from hanging out. Because I have a theory that there's a moisture aspect as well as a bedding aspect that comes with that. So everything is nice and evened out there. I'm not going to lay down any dry bedding. I'm actually going to use the bedding that we had, these dry pieces here, as a bottom for our bedding. This will, again, absorb moisture, and I'm going to put a bedding on top after I feed. So I think the fact that that coffee dried out might have something to do with the bugs. So that's going to be our base bedding. And I'm going to get some of my mix here. Hopefully sprinkle this. And I've got a big bag of frozen and thawed food. There's liquid in there. I'll drizzle the liquid first if I can. Not a ton of liquid, but some. And then I have celery, carrots, and more coffee grounds. So, just gonna try to evenly distribute this because, again, they were frozen and thawed, but the moisture content in this food is pretty high. So now I'm just gonna get a container full of some coconut coir that I have out that I've been using, and we will top this off with some coconut coir loosely and leave it for another week. Alright, so I'm just topping this off. This is very lightly moistened coconut coir, so it will have plenty of, what do you call it, absorption left in it, because you can see some of this more fibrous stuff is still quite dry. And that's kind of what I was hoping with a wet feeding. Have a nice bit of dry bedding here too. Soak that stuff up if it needs to. So it's not super tightly covered, but I think this should be good. So I think that's all I'm going to do for today. A little bit disappointed about the beetles, but all in all in my systems, their numbers are down significantly. Like I've said before, I don't see them anywhere else except in my bins, so just gotta go with it. This whole ecosystem thing, there's checks and balances, and it all ends up evening out in the end, and if I help it along a little bit, that's fine, but honestly, Mother Nature's meant to do it her way, so we will try to keep that in mind, or I will rather, as this moves forward. But I'm gonna zip this up real tight, give these guys another week, and if all is looking good, we will do a harvest next week. So let me know what you think. Drop those comments below. Like this video, subscribe if you'd like some more content from me, and I'll be back with you guys real soon for an update.